Howdy, welcome to PEDO Student Technician Orientation. My name is Jake and I'm going to be covering the Expected Worker Behavior module. So let's dive on in. Kind of a brief overview, we're going to be going over student problem solving process, dress code, professionalism, answering phones, and workspace expectations. So to start with the process, kind of the myth of this job is you just answer tickets and take calls. It's a lot more than that. Think of it as you're providing a service. First thing is, whenever you come up on a problem and you don't know what to do, you ask a fellow student, whether that's in person, that's on the chat, or you call them. First line of defense is you ask a fellow student. If none of y'all can figure it out and it's very time sensitive, then you can contact a full-time employee, not Dale. Okay, that's either going to be Brandon or Arthur or somebody else. But that's your last resort. All right, so if you and your fellow student workers cannot figure it out, then go to them, because sometimes you might be doing something that's a little out of your security clearance, so you might need them to kind of step in. But most of the time, you should be able to do stuff with you and the rest of the student workers. The kind of purpose behind this is kind of promote some problem-solving skills. And also, the full-time employees are not student techs. They have other stuff that they're working on, and they don't need to be bogged down with all of our problems. And sometimes, because of that, they might ask you to hop on a project with them and kind of help them out. But we're going to be going over that here in a second. So remember, first thing, talk to your student workers if you have a problem. And if they can't solve it, then go talk to another full-time staff, not Dale. Next, we'll kind of be going over dress code. So there's kind of two examples of dress codes, one for males, one for females. Biggest thing to hit on here is, some low quality, low professional open-toed shoes you can see, along with any gym materials. So that's gym shorts, athletic wear, stuff like that. Ladies, remember, if you had a dress code in high school, fingertip length shorts, that's kind of what we're looking at. Along with any graphic t-shirts that might be a little unprofessional. If you see the one on the left, the male, that's actually a alcoholic beverage shirt. So that would be kind of not in the ballpark of stuff. So to move on to something that is acceptable, okay, so if you look at the shoes, kind of some closed-toed shoes, a little bit more professional than your average flip-flop or chacos or something like that. We got some cargo shorts and some fingertip length pants as well. And then another thing to really hit on here is the vest. Okay, you'll be given a PEDO student tech vest that you're going to have to wear basically at all times. If you're out moving some stuff, if you're out answering tickets, if you're doing anything at all, you got to have this on. Along with the name tag. Now, the only instance that you don't have to wear the vest is if you're doing stuff inside one of the workspaces. So there's not really a need, because you're not in front of anybody that would really look down upon for you not wearing the vest, because it identifies you as part of the PEDO department. So make sure whenever you're wearing this, you're being very professional. We kind of call it as a college casual attire. So like I said, appropriate graphic t-shirts, and then pants, we're looking at no gym shorts, basketball shorts. Also, if you're going to wear jeans or pants, let's not have any big holes in them. And obviously, some approved examples are cargo shorts, approved length shorts, and full pants. Kind of a rule of thumb, if you have to think twice about it, then you probably shouldn't wear it. If your grandmother doesn't approve of it, then that probably is also an indication that you probably should not wear it to work, because the people that we are supporting and that we service are the top level executives for the university. So we're talking the president's office all the way down to the TAP department over in Hotard for general studies. So those kind of people. To kind of touch on the vest again, so name tag and vest, worn at all times. You represent PEDO, so be respectful and professional with everyone that you come in contact with. And so to kind of touch on that professionalism, remember you're representing the provost IT department. Okay, so the people that we support and everything else will be covered later in the organizational hierarchy module. So look forward to that. And another big part of this professionalism is doing your job. We ensure others are able to do their job. So everything that we do has to be done efficiently and quickly, okay? Because if someone has a ticket and they can't log into their computer or some program's not working, then that's hindering them from doing their job, and that's not good because they're falling behind in their work. So we need to make sure that we're on top of the game. Along with that, we have some big tickets come in every once in a while, along with some tickets from some high-ranking people. So that's anybody in the president's office to a couple other departments that we support that we'll go over later. But make sure a full-time employee is up to date on those tickets and on those high-ranking people. Most of the time, you won't be going and supporting. A full-time employee will do that just because of kind of how everything works. But you might be working on a ticket that is for one of those people, so you need to make sure it gets done quick, along with the big tickets as well. So kind of touch on some scheduling real quick. Make sure Dale knows of any possible conflictions with your schedule. You'll typically set that up at the beginning of the semester of like when you're going to work and what days you're going to work each week. And then it'll kind of be on a cycle after that. But within the first 2 weeks of school, you should sit down, look at your syllabus, and look at all the conflicts that you have throughout the semester, get your schedule down, and then send those conflicts of when you might have to change your hours on certain days to Dale within the first 2 weeks of class, okay? And then once you've done that, you need to go in and update the student worker calendar and make sure that's all good to go as well. So obviously, we know some things come up, people get sick, car breaks down, something like that. That's okay. It doesn't need to happen a lot or else we might have a problem, but the biggest thing to look at here is notification. So you need to notify Dale as soon as possible, okay? So if you know you're sick on a Tuesday night and you work Wednesday at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m., then you need to tell Dale Tuesday night that you're sick and you are not going to be able to come in. You need to go ahead and make that call early enough so that he is aware. And you don't need to be sending him a message saying 30 minutes before you're supposed to work that you're going to be not there because you're sick or you had something come up. Okay, it's not really acceptable. So here's a little breakdown of the kind of an email that you would send Dale about your scheduling conflicts. Kind of type out the day that you're going to be missing and the reason, and then you got to kind of give a little explanation. So whether that's you have an exam or you have a mandatory meeting or something like that, you need to have that in there. And obviously send this to him within the first 2 weeks of school and update the student worker calendar. So to kind of go over again on professionalism, we're going to look at hygiene. So make sure, males, you're groomed properly. I know if you're trying to grow out a beard, that's okay. Just make sure, you look good and professional. This is a job, so you're going to work, so you need to look good, along with arriving clean. So if you have a class over at West Campus and it's 95 degrees out and you're going to be booking it over to the administration building, maybe before you head out for the day, throw a stick of deodorant or some cologne or perfume or something in there before you leave. That way you can just hop into the bathroom and kind of get ready before you hop into work, because who knows who you're going to meet that day, and you need to be looking your best. There's always something to do, whether you have tickets or not. If you have tickets, you need to be answering them. You need to make sure that you're up to date on those, and those are getting done in a timely manner. But if you don't have anything to do, go into the queue in SDP that we're going to go over later. Go into the queue and see if there's anything that you can grab. And then if that doesn't pan out, if there's nothing in there that you can work on, maybe look at another student tech that has a lot of tickets and see if maybe you can grab or help them out with their tickets. If you can't do any of that, go ask a full-time and see if they need help with anything. All right, so to kind of touch on that aspect, a full-time employee might come and ask you for some help on a ticket that they're actually working on. But if you know, slash if you don't know, you need to check. But if you know that you have tickets that you need to be working on, you need to work on those tickets rather than helping a full-time employee. If you're all up to date and you're all good and you're just waiting on a couple appointments that you need to go work on, then you can go work with that full-time employee, but still keep track of the tickets that you still have open. Okay, you need to make sure that your work is done before you go help somebody else. So we kind of go over answering phones. That's another part of the job. That's kind of a part of the myth that I talked about earlier, but it is a part of the job. So kind of give you a little phrase to say whenever you answer the phone. So you say, "Hi, this is Jake Lewis with the Provost IT office. Who am I speaking with and how can I help you?" Okay, so with that, you're going to write down their names. You need to make sure before you answer the phone, you have pen and paper, and you write down their name. If you need to ask them to spell it, you need to make sure you do that. Every phone call must have a ticket according with it. Preferably, you kind of walk them through how to fill out the ticket, but if it's kind of in a time crunch or something, you get as much information about them as possible, and then you go and make that ticket for them and fill in the information accordingly. So make sure you double check everything before you hang up, and then obviously if it's something that can be fixed really quick and you know exactly how to do it, you can go ahead and answer it, maybe remote in if you need to, but 90% of the time, you're just going to be answering the phone, creating a ticket, and then telling them that your ticket has been put in, and we'll make sure that a student tech or a technician gets on it as soon as possible. So another thing about phones is we're going to talk about transferring calls. So this is kind of the breakdown. You answer the phone, they need a transfer, hit the transfer button, type in the extension, hit the transfer button again, and then hang up. And then they're going to be transferred. Kind of go over missed calls. So whenever a missed call happens, everyone should get an email, and the email is essentially a write-up of the voicemail that they left, and then you'll get the email, you'll read it, and then give them a call back within 30 minutes to let them know that you got the call, and that either have them make a ticket or make the ticket yourself and kind of tell them that we've received it and someone will be working on it as soon as possible. Either a student tech or a full-time employee, depending on how big the problem is. Okay, obviously, use your problem-solving process. Ask the students first. If none of y'all can do it, then ask the full-time employee. So, office space. We know in the IT industry that clutter happens, especially with us because we have such small spaces. So make sure that all the trash is put away, everything's nice and neat and orderly. If there's cables hanging out, go put them up. If you're not working on a ticket, tidy up the space really quick. There's obviously always something to do. You just have to look around and find something to do. To kind of touch on food and etc. If you have a mug or cup, make sure it's washed and put away. If you bring your own mug full of coffee to work one day and you finish it, go wash it and then put it in your bag. Don't just leave it out. It doesn't really look that great, especially with our small spaces. So make sure food and everything is cleaned up and wiped down and put away. So another thing, make sure you put things where they go. So each space kind of has an organizational surplus area, especially the GSC. That's our surplus hub. So whenever you get there, walk into the storage closet and familiarize yourself with where everything is and where everything is supposed to be placed, along with the shelves for each full-time employee. kind of know what's kind of going on whenever you show up, so that if you get asked to do something, you know exactly where the resources are and the equipment to get it. So now this completes the expected worker behavior module. So if you would complete the post quiz, and then after the post quiz, move on to the rest of the training. Thanks, and giggle.